Hi, folks, and welcome to my thoughts on a comic. And today's comic is Royal City #1 by Image. Alright, let's start what we usually do. Right, so this was created, written, and illustrated by Jeff Lemire. I'm not sure. Lettered by Steve Wands. And this cover is also by Jeff Lemire. I'll write it down below. As usual, you can try to figure out yourselves. Alright, so this was one hell of a gripping story. I started it today in the afternoon and I could just not stop reading it until I finished. It was just that mesmerizing in a sense. So So in this story, we have a family. We have the Pike family. And it seems that, I don't know how long ago, the youngest child in the family, Tommy, has died. And now as we go along with the story, we see that for each family member sees Tommy as something different. It seems that his spirit is somehow still with them because we go about in the beginning of the story, the father in the family, Peter, has a stroke, and it seems that he has gotten that stroke when he was in the shed fixing a radio. He has many radios, where he thought he'd heard, or maybe he did in fact hear Tommy's voice coming out of the radio. So we see that, and then later on, when one of the I think the eldest kids, Patrick, drives into Royal City to see his dad. He almost he pulls on the brakes because he sees a person on the road, and when he gets out, he sees Tommy, his young brother. And then later on, we're in the hospital with the mother, Patty. Yeah, Patty, and she also sees Tommy. But in her mind, Tommy is a priest. He's a priest and he prays with her. And then, we're also with another one of the brothers, Richard. Richard has a drinking problem, and also a problem of constantly being late for work. And he also has, in a sense, has Tommy with him. But Tommy seems to be his age and doesn't judge him for his drinking. As a matter of fact, he seems to, say, "Come on, man, let's go have more fun somewhere." And then we see how his sister. All right, so the siblings are Richard, Patrick, Tara, and the youngest Tommy. And Tara goes back home, and it seems to be that she sees Tommy as the little child that she was babysitting. And while still unconscious, his dad sees him in whatever realm of his mind he is in right now. And also Patrick right here continues also to see him. And the end of the story, he goes to the there's problems between Tara and Patty the mom and Richie. They both seem to kind of have given up on him a bit. Well, more than a bit. And that really annoys Patrick. He says that no matter what, he's still their brother and he needs to know what's going on with their dad. So he goes by to his apartment to to see if he's there. He's not there. And then he again sees Tommy and he follows him. And we follow him and Tommy until we reach Tommy's tombstone, which is towards the end we learn that Tommy is dead. I guess before you learn that, it is a bit confusing. It's just it's very interesting. It seems that the all of the family members haven't let go of Tommy, and each one of them sees him as a different version. And also during the story, we have Tommy's narration as well. Him saying how much he wants to get out of the city, Royal City, how he wants to live a different life. He wonders if life is different, if all families are like his family. It's just very interesting. And in the end, when he's standing in front of his tombstone, we see all the other Tommies as well there, and he says hi to Patrick. It's just, it was really something. Each family member, how they work. It was really a captivating story for me anyway. It was also incredibly sad and a bit depressing. As I read this, I really felt sad and depressed. It's just the whole atmosphere and everything that's going on. Also the art. It just combines so well with all that. And you have actually how the writer says it, a piece of life story. Although he doesn't really want you to see it as a piece of life story, but you kinda do see it like that. Just it reminded me of those books that I guess you could say are a bit of a piece of a life story and a tad bit of fiction that I read once. And I was also very good there. It's an interesting and yet very sad story. And it seems like I actually did the math, and Tommy died when he was 14. I don't know what year, they don't specify the year in this issue, but I do wonder how long has passed. Because it does seem like the family can't let him go, and each one sees him differently, is what they want. He says, though, that Richie treats him like a person. His mother wanted him to be a perfect child. He thinks his dad is also, lost in his own world like Tommy is. He thinks Patrick is just lost, and Tara wants him to stay a child. This is really, really a good story. And the art, I mean, okay, let's go on to the art. The art is really awesome. It's all watercolors. I mean, look at that. So I guess kind of adds to the whole effect of it being a bit depressing as you read on. Because, as you see all the colors, they're very. How do I put it? They're not too alive. And it works, and in all honesty, it works perfectly with the tone of the story. See, that's the dad. He seems to have quite the obsession or fascination with radios. Maybe you learn later on why. After all, this is the first day. See, he thinks he hears Tommy and has a stroke. That's a really pretty image. That's Patrick. There he sees Tommy. It is, in the beginning, quite the bizarre story, especially when you see Tommy around. That's Tara. She's trying to revive Royal City. She wants to build a new project that'll give more employment. Her husband's not very for it because he'll lose his job if she does that. That's Richard. I mean, look at this image. That's just beautiful. Again, you see all the colors are very, very light. Nothing's too alive or, jumps and attacks you in a sense. I mean, look at that. The art really is something in here. I mean, how often do you see comics that are entirely watercolored? Well, anyway, I don't see them often. See, that's the mom. Really is a story worth reading onwards. I'll try to see if I can find more of this later on. See, they're fighting a bit. There he goes to the to Richard's apartment, and there's Tommy. And you see Tara sees him as a little boy. And also, Tommy says he wonders if they'll notice if he'll really disappear. Which is interesting because they all seem to still see him as what they want to see him. But do they really notice he's not there? And also, how did he die? See, he's here, but then we see that he's actually not. And that's how it ends. All the versions of Tommy, you could say, standing together. Oh, and here we have Tommy's diary, actually. It seems like in the beginning when Patrick stumbles, almost drives into him, that the notebook he has on his seat changes to Tommy's diary. Now, this entire page is spread inside the comic. Now, this is what the author wrote us, and there's also a playlist of songs. I actually checked that out. Yeah, this really is one hell. Oh, that's his piggy, his doll. Yeah, this was one hell of a story. I mean, I don't remember the last time I was this sad while reading a story. I mean, but everything fits for that. Especially the colors. I mean, I'll even show you. I actually drew Tommy today after I read this, and I mean, look at him with colors that are more, alive. It still looks sad, but the feeling is different. Unlike it is in here. You can see over there. It's just really this was a good story, a really sad one, but well, sad one for me anyway, but still a good story. So I do really recommend you give this a try. And the art is really amazing. I mean, everything is in watercolors. That is awesome. Alright, folks, so that is it. Till next time. Bye.